The one in the middle symbolizes the nurse, and it's the role of the nurse to collect the forensic evidence. This is a case where the person's body is actually the crime scene.
I think a lot of times, because they are now the crime scene, I think they feel very much on the spot and very depersonalized and almost objectified. And with sensitive law enforcement and nurse examiners, that helps a lot.
And so we're the person who actually collects that evidence and packages it and submits it to the Department of Justice and to law enforcement to be analyzed later. And the third one there is the law enforcement officer. What we do is assemble all at once with the client here, with the victim, and interview them just one time so that it's less traumatic. We also get a very high conviction rate or confession rate. And so what happens is it's getting the perpetrators off the street. The case that comes to mind for me is one that happened several years ago. There was a man who had raped several prostitutes. One of them actually got the nerve finally to report, feeling that nothing would happen, that because she was a prostitute, the fact that she was brutally raped, it wouldn't make any difference, that the system would not work for her. And I'm happy to report that this gentleman is now serving a 386-year sentence. So he's going to be locked up for quite a long time, and it shows that the system is becoming aware that no matter what kind of lifestyle you have, it's still not okay for a woman to be traumatized that way.
What statistics show is that 60% or 70% of sexual assault occurs within the context of an intimate relationship. However, what's actually reported disproportionately represents stranger rape, rape by an acquaintance they met at the bar that night. So we actually see a very small subset of the population that is experiencing and surviving sexual assault.
We happen to be a nonprofit that runs a very dangerous business. Our work literally saves lives. And so our staff, our clients, and our volunteers are at all times at great risk.
You can imagine working with this population that there's high risk factors for the people that provide the services, because you are working with a situation in which an outside person is intervening in a family situation where that dynamic has maybe been kept secret.
We have, for example, a shelter for battered women and their children, which we have to keep at a secret location because of the possibility that batterers may stalk and find their victims there while we are literally hiding them at the shelter. So the potential for violence at the shelter is very great. The potential for violence even at our office here is very great, if only because we are people who are supporting women who are in violent relationships.
People who are involved in the field of helping women know that sexual assault and domestic violence happen. And because that's a given, to actually participate in helping that person and trying to end sexual assault and violence against women in general is very motivating and very inspiring.
There is a joy and continuation, in my case for 20 years with this work, to know that we do make a difference and that women's lives have been completely changed because we were there.
I would say that if we couldn't get insurance, this agency would be at severe risk, bottom line, of going out of business. It's that simple.
We're going to a grade school. It's in the community of Watts. It's an area in south central Los Angeles. We do everything from immunizations to well baby checkups.
And how often do you visit this particular site that we're seeing today?
This school we do once a week.
Once every week. As a regular part of what we do at NIAC, I go out and a lot of the folks that work with me go out to visit the nonprofits that we insure, because a lot of the organizations like yours do a variety of things. From an insurance perspective, it can be pretty difficult to figure out how to price that.
The insurance industry goes through hard and soft markets. And during a hard market, the prices either go up considerably or the nonprofits can't get insurance at all. Typically, the nonprofit sector isn't well understood, or there isn't a lot of data supporting the type of claims experience that the nonprofit, say, industry has had. And so if you don't understand something, you generally will just charge a higher price.
We need to see these locations and get a lot better understanding of what you do. We found that often when we make these visits, we can go back and actually reduce the pricing.
Our premise really is price stability, whereas we haven't raised our rates since the company was founded in 1989. We generally look at things over, say, a 3, 5, maybe 7-year time frame, that the amount of premium that that nonprofit agency will pay for their insurance over that time frame will be less than it may be for a traditional insurer.
Watts Health Foundation is a very large organization. We have a clinic. We have the AIDS program, where they deal primarily with getting information out to people surrounding HIV and AIDS. We also have a school-based health clinic at Jordan High School, where the clinic is in the high school. A geriatrics program. I mean, I can go on and on. So there's several different aspects to the Watts Health Foundation.
So you've been doing pretty well since you were last here? Okay, the eyes cleared up nicely? Yeah. Were you having a lot of head congestion and runny nose before? Sure. Sometimes. Is that better now?
Every Wednesday we're here. We provide immunizations, physicals, sick visits to the students here at 112th Street School.
Well, depending on the setting that we're in, we see a variety of things. School physicals, follow-up rechecks after sore throats, ear infections. This young lady had allergic rhinitis and some eye irritation related to that. So we're seeing her in follow-up for that.
Oftentimes in this community, care isn't accessed. And primarily because sometimes people are not legal in the country and they don't know that they can get care.
That's the main issue, is that they're illegal aliens and they don't have access to Medi-Cal because of the present problems that they're having with the welfare system. So the only way that they're usually seen to get their immunizations or their sick visits for their kids, they come here to us.
You are?
Also just a lack of knowledge sometimes, knowing what immunizations they're supposed to get and when, and knowing that they're supposed to have these things done before they enter school. So instead of just putting the information out there and hoping that they grasp it, we take the mobile to them. So they don't have to leave the baby at a daycare center. They can bring everyone here and they can get care done. As they take their child to school in the morning, it's in their community. They don't have to travel far.
I think people think that the people here that are seeking medical services probably are unemployed, but most of them are hard-working people who maybe make too much to be eligible for the welfare system, and they don't make enough to pay for medical care.
Well, I'm doing this because I grew up in a family that taught me it was important to give back to the community, to be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. And my reality comes from interacting with that community and working in that community and feeling that I'm making a contribution to the community at large.
This is California Gray Bears. This organization was one of the very first organizations that NIAC ever insured.
Gray Bears is a seniors helping seniors organization, nonprofit grassroots membership organization. The dues are $15 a year, and it entitles people to approximately 40 brown bags of budget-stretching, nutritious produce.